Good morning, guys. How's it going? Today's video, I just wanted to go over the technique that I had a lot of success on in the last tournament video I uploaded. It was the Big Break tournament. It was the Yak event at Big Break on the California Delta. I got second place in that event with 50 inches for my best 3 fish. Caught a ton of fish that day. It was kind of interesting because I did pre-fish the day before, and I was getting most of my bites on a white swim jig, and it dialed me into some areas where there was fish. But on tournament day, I caught 1 fish, I think, on the white swim jig. But basically what bait I had a ton of success with, and if you watch my channel, you know it's one of my favorite baits, and it's a Strike King Rage Menace. Basically, when we launched out a Big Break, it was this big flat. I mean, this flat was anywhere from 2 to 5-6 foot deep at its deepest point, and there were a few islands out in the middle of this flat. Now you got to remember, these islands are actually just completely filled with vegetation, with reeds and hyacinth and other plants, and so you can't, even though they're islands and submerged islands with water, you can't get into those islands. It's just too thick. Even with a kayak, you can't make your way into these islands. What I found was that on low tide, a lot of these fish would actually be living within the island in all that grass and vegetation, and on low tide, as the water went down, they'd kind of get sucked to the outside. I threw a lot of finesse rigs as well. I threw a Senko and a drop shot, but wasn't getting a lot of fish. It really was the reaction bite when I pitched this into a clump of hyacinth or into the tules that I'd get a bite. That was kind of the pattern. It was interesting, and it just goes to show that tides definitely do matter when fishing the Delta. The plan is to go back there tomorrow. Let's see if the pattern holds up, and we can catch some fish on it. All that vegetation, there's water there. There's fish that live way back in there. You can see up there's some birds. And obviously they're looking for bait. So on the higher tide, a lot of your bait, this is a ton of cover, a ton of safety, a ton of protection for bait in this island. All that's water. Underneath all that vegetation is water, and I think on the higher tide, the bait kind of sits back in there, and that's why those birds are looking in. That's where the bait is. And on that low tide, when the water level sinks down, they get drawn out to the edge. So right now we're still on a little bit higher tide, so I don't think a lot of the bass are actually on the outside yet. I think a lot of them are still out in the in the middle of the island and hard to get to. So we're just gonna have to keep fishing until the tide gets right. One nice chunk. I think they're starting to finally move out though. They're still here. Man, I would have loved to have that one in the tournament. So finally, the tide is definitely getting lower. We started out on a high tide and it's dropping, and I'm getting more bites. Fun to have something that is going to work. Couple. How about you guys?
about you?
Maybe like a 4.
That's nice. E8.
It's hard to beat the rage menace. I mean, it's just such a good bait. Dude, these areas are just replenishing. These fish just keep moving out. They are eating well. Another reason why this is a perfect bait in this scenario is it's a nice slim profile. You know, it can really cast it up into these reeds and it won't, you know, it's not as likely to get hung up or bounce back at you. So we are just about on a low tide. It's really worked this area thoroughly with a flipping. I think there will still be fish that move out. I'm going to switch it up a little bit since a lot of these fish have really set up on the edge and just kind of cast a drop shot around, making longer casts, and see if we can pick up a few extra fish. Healthy fish in here. It's a dangerous place to drop that. So guys, this is pretty cool. I mean, this one little spot, right? Kind of this, it's not even really a point, it's just kind of a little bit of a current break, but I mean, I think this just reiterates the point that there's so many fish back in there, and now at this low tide with them sucked out and this being the only deeper water, they're just all piled in here. And there are hundreds of fish, and they're mainly small, but there are a few good ones. The problem is, every time I throw my bait in there, just like a wolf pack of small ones just comes and attacks the bait, so I can't really have a good opportunity of catching a big one, but I'm going to keep fishing around here. I think I'm bound to run into a couple of good ones. I've seen a couple of good ones. Again, there's just so many small ones attacking the bait. It's kind of hard to single those other ones out. Oh my gosh. Probably a little keeper. It's fun to catch them even though they're small. I could probably catch them on this hook. I'm going to just try to catch him on a hook only. They've been biting the weight. bit the hook. I mean, better. So finally moved away from all those tiny fish and started getting towards the reeds, and my gosh, it is loaded in here. 2 and 3 pounders, a couple 4s. I mean, there's one right there. There's like, oh, there's a carp right there. But right in front of me, there's like a 3. Gosh, they're just everywhere. So many quality fish up in the reeds. So I think the better fish are, you know, in the cover. They're just accessible right now. They're sucked out from all that stuff in the middle you can't really get to. You might be able to get a big one like this. Like a 3 pounder right there. They're all about that size in there, which is, you know, they're fun. They're not huge, but they're all keepers. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. The way I wanted to catch them still held up. I don't think it's a secret really around here what I'm doing, but you know, it's cool that I kind of stumbled upon this and found a tide in an area that I can predict where they're going to set up, so that's pretty neat. Just a lot of small ones and a lot of, you know, 2 and 3 pounders, which are still fun to catch, but there are giants here. This is the California Delta. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.